The one thing that changed my life more than anything else was realizing what identity I have and changing how I see myself. In school, I was always the guy who was late. I was always the guy who had to catch up and was just surviving and passing by. Why? Because I didn't care so much about school back then. But this identity transferred into my professional life, where I was still always the guy who had to catch up no matter how much time I had, no matter how hard I worked. I was always behind, always overwhelmed with things to do and never had enough time. But I looked at other people at the same stage and they made the right decisions, okay? And they got a better outcome for the time they spent working. And I was like, why? And I realized it was my identity that was running the show. And I went from seeing myself as that guy who's always late and having to catch up and never having enough time to having more than enough time at all times. And my life transformed. Not only my profession, I used the same principle, changing how I see myself in my health, in my relationships. I went from being hospitalized and seeing myself as being sick and unhealthy to healing and achieving a top 1% physique, because that's how I saw myself. And a client of mine, I'm not going to say his name now due to privacy, let's call him Gavin. He came to me and said, Steph, everybody disrespects me. And I said, what do you mean? Literally everybody or just certain people? He said, no, everybody. So I helped him to change the story he tells himself and change how he sees himself. And believe it or not, 2 weeks later, he would call me and say, Steph, I can't believe it. At work, the people greet me, they say hello, they shake my hand. Before, they didn't even look at me, right? In the grocery store, the cashier talks to me, smiles at me, has asked me how my day was and wishes me an amazing day. Never happened before. Now, did Gavin change the grocery store? No. He changed the story he tells himself and the self-image he has about him, and everything changed. And you can do the same. Ask yourself, which identity is actually running the show in your life? And why don't you get the results you want? It is always you betraying yourself. It is self-sabotage, and it comes down to the identities you have, and changing them, flipping the script is going to change your life.